Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Connor Williams, and this is another player review. This time is on none other than Nathan Patterson. You know the drill. I'll go through his stats. I'll give you my personal thoughts and feelings on the lad, and then I'll give him a rating at the end out of 10. Starting off, it's been a bit of a quiet season for Patterson. I don't think we've seen him nearly as much as people thought we would. He's got 999 minutes for us this season, which is the equivalent of 26 games. Um, which I mean, it's okay. It's an okay amount of games, but I just genuinely think fans thought we'd see more out of him than we have done, unfortunately. Whether that's down to the manager not rating him or something a bit deeper is unsure. So going through, he's got no goals this season. No, it got 0.3 expected goals. He's got no assists really. He's got two assists. Sorry, he's got two assists this season with an expected 1.04 assists. That means he's averaging about 0.18 assists per 90 minutes. 298 successful passes this season and a 73% pass accuracy with 27 accurate long balls, which equals out to about a 42.9% accuracy for him. His crossing accuracy is only 21.9%, meaning only like 7 of them have been successful, which averages out at about 0.63 crosses per 90, which I think isn't very good for a modern day full wing back slash fullback. It's really tough. I'll get onto it in a minute. I'll carry on with the stats, but I'll explain a little bit more. So he's got 7 successful dribbles. He's won 24 tackles. He wins 70% of his tackles. He wins 44.5% of his duels and 41% of his aerial duels. He's made 9 interceptions, 2 blocks, 60 recoveries. He's won possession in the final third 7 times, but he has been dribbled past 23 times. He's got 4 yellow cards, but no red cards for him, which I think is a positive. And he does predominantly play up that right hand side, predominantly, midway to 3/4 of the way up the field. When you look at his heat map sort of suggests that, which is interesting as well. Very interesting for Patterson. Like I say, he's made 3 big chances this season as well for Everton, and makes about 0.4 key passes. So my thoughts on him are they're interesting. I feel like he's a bit like Mykolenko, similar ilk, in terms of, but I don't think he's as good defensively as Mykolenko is. But they are of a similar ilk in terms of Patterson's strengths for me are his tackling. He is a good tackler. He likes to play the ball off the ground often. He likes to tackle. That does mean he commits fouls a bit frequently, but it's what happens when you make a lot of tackles. You're going to get some wrong, aren't you? Or deemed wrong in the referee's eyes. He likes to try and cross the ball. Unfortunately, I don't think crossing is his very strong point, hence the stats suggest. His aerial duels as well. He's not a very big lad, and he's not a very tall lad, and he's not a very well built lad. Which me and my dad speak about it a lot. I don't want to body shame or anything, but I do feel like he is maybe a little bit. I feel like the way he's built, you either have to be really rapid, or you're going to have to use your strength a bit better, especially in the fullback position. You don't want to be shrugged off the ball by the opposing wingers, especially in this day and age where a lot of wingers are pressing very high. We're seeing it with like the likes of Jurgen Klopp. As soon as the fullbacks get the ball, you used to have, back a couple of years ago when they were in, probably the prime of their Jurgen Klopp years, you had Salah, Mane, and Firmino. Firmino would try and press the back 2 centre backs. Mane and Salah to the fullbacks. And they're not the only club to do it, but they're the one you always hear on the media praising. you don't want your fullback to be shrugged off the ball, and you want him to react quickly. Or the other option is be smart with your passing. Unfortunately, I don't think his passing is very good either. Here's the problem with him. Me and James spoke about him on a sell or keep. You know, we are 2 years ago, we were saying Seamus Coleman is being hung out to dry. It was when Coleman was going through a bad patch. And we were like, you know what? He's probably a little bit too old now to be doing this week in, week out. We need a new fullback. We got Patterson, and he's been here, what, a year and nearly 2 years now, I think, since we signed him. And this is the problem I find, is that it's been like nearly 2 years since we signed him. And we're now still in the position where Seamus Coleman, in a lot of fans' eyes, is going, and deservedly going, to get a new contract, with people going, he's still our best fullback at the club. And you'd have hoped that that wouldn't have been the case when you sign a young lad. I mean, he is 21 or 22 now, but he was, 20 when we signed him. So there is still time. I don't want to write him off. I'm not going to write him off, but I do think there is signs for improvement, which this season we need to see a bit more of that. And I'm not saying, I'm not fully behind, cutting our losses, because I think he's only 22, and there's plenty of time for him to develop. I just think that every now and then people will go, "Where's Patterson? Where's Patterson?" Clearly, the manager has seen something that doesn't quite can't quite get on board with yet. And to be fair to the manager, when I watch him and when I'm looking at the stats for stuff like this, the stat and eye test match up quite nicely to, he just needs to work a little bit harder on some stuff. He is quite similar to Coleman. Coleman now, his stats are quite similar to Coleman now and Ashley Young. But like I say, he's 22. He could fully develop into, a fullback. He is quick. He's not rapid. I wouldn't call him, the quickest in the league, but he is quick. When I said you've got to be rapid, I mean, like, give him half a yard and they're down the other end of the pitch rapid. He's not a slouch, though. I think he's probably comes up as one of the quicker lads in the Everton squad. So that leads me to, what is my rating for Nathan Patterson this year? I feel a bit harsh as well, because I think he did pick up a couple of injuries over the season, which don't help when you're a young lad trying to get in, and cement yourself in a side. I think I'm going to give him a 6.5 this season. I think that's probably fair. I think he's had a tough season with injuries, trying to get in the squad, and I think come next season, we try and give him a better run at it. We either realistically need to give him a proper run at it, or try and find a new fullback in the summer. I'd argue maybe even both. But 6.5 for Nathan Patterson. You're only 22, so hopefully we see some improvement next year. That's all we've got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment your thoughts down below. Look forward to reading them. See you soon.